Hi, it's Rob Grimes with Hospitality Tech TV, Host Tech TV, and I'm with Toby Malbec at ConStrata. And the trade show is closed here at HITEC. So we are actually going to do a quick walk around the floor and just sort of chat about the show in general, what we saw, what we observed, maybe some trends and things. And then if we happen to see something, great, but no sales pitches, no salespeople. We're just going to take a look and see what's here.
Undercover.
Undercover. Great. So Toby, what have you seen here that you thought was sort of cool at the show?
It's interesting. There really isn't a killer app this year. A lot of people coming in with mobility solutions. Obviously, a lot of good stuff around the front of the house for hotels. Some really good digital technology, but there isn't a killer app this year. There's nothing out there that's really wowing everybody, I don't think. But the playing field seems to be leveling out a lot. The other thing that's interesting is more and more of the companies, especially around property management, are looking back at the boombox solution. So you're seeing some of the big players like the Infors and the Micros and guys like that really coming forward with a whole comprehensive solution.
All right, so wait a minute, hang on a second. What is this booth?
This is one of the most technologically
Display Systems
advanced.
International, DSI. So what are we showing?
This is the new way to get from the hotel to the airport.
Yeah, but look, wait,
when
rec
you're late
centers,
for your flight.
Rec centers, restaurants, banking, and retail. So what do they actually do?
I have no idea. I don't know anything about these guys.
Oh, I think I get it. You know what it is? It's to get people's attention for a booth.
Well, he certainly do that.
See, he's got the car on here, so I guess this is how to get people to come to your booth by having a fancy car.
I guess
And there's probably no technology to this, other than what's in the car, right?
There isn't even GPS in the car, Rob. Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's keep walking along. We'll head down this aisle. You know, I would agree with you about the applications that are here. Yeah. I think that unlike some other shows that we visited, there are not a lot of startups here. Mm-hmm. And maybe it's the barrier to entry. Maybe it's because the hotel industry is dominated by companies that really cover it all in ones, or they're very well established, or it's hard to get in. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, one of the interesting things that I see is a lot of the companies that have been legacy have now started to reinvent their product. We're seeing a lot more cloud-based computing. Obviously, folks like Infor have a next-generation PMS. Opera was early into the gate, if you will, with the next generation. You've got Parr Springer Miller with the next gen. So there isn't a lot of room for new entrants, although there's always, much like a baseball team, you've got the guys on the outside here who are starting to, there are some new entries into the market, but those are still kind of the prevalent players here and have most of the market share.
Well, one thing that I did see quite a few of was the number of companies that, in fact, were showing wireless solutions that were here, Wi-Fi.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, a lot of Wi-Fi players here, and people who are leveraging the Wi-Fi stack, if you will, the platform. And,
yeah, and then so there's about 3 or 4 vendors here. They're showing new locking systems. Some of them touch, some of them the wireless.
Absolutely,
some innovative things in touch.
Well, you and I have talked about it, Rob. I think the future of hotels is that we're going to see the front desk really become less and less of a transaction point and more of an interaction point. That the Gen Y folks are going to be less inclined to go have to pick up a key at the front desk. So there is some technology here around key systems that integrate to your cell phone or to wireless and to Androids and such.
Now, I also saw that there were a few vendors here that actually are showing sort of platforms that they're really not application providers, but they're showing platforms for different types of connectivity with the guest, from handhelds to tablets to the TVs.
Exactly. And some of them are even just basic stuff. I mean, it's very interesting to see here, even at a vendor like this, something as traditional as a handheld handset, because telephones, the whole idea of call accounting is not even a revenue generator in a hotel anymore, but yet it's a necessary evil. So you still find people selling phones.
They're not getting rid of the phones.
Well, you have to keep it to some degree.
Look at this booth here. Yeah. So this booth here, they're showing integration, and I went to another booth that was showing IP telephony, but they were talking about the connection to Wi-Fi.
Correct.
And so you're using the Wi-Fi, but you're letting the guests connect as well. I think NEC was showing that.
And even a step further, where they're adding some things like rechargeable capabilities for your iPhone and Android as part of your desktop phone. So what they're saying is, if you're going to have to have a phone in the hotel, you might as well put it to use so that a guest can recharge their iPhone or recharge their Android or so on. So people are looking at new ways to skin an old cat.
But clearly a lot of wireless, a lot of cloud technology.
Yeah.
But I do agree that it seems to come from a group of vendors who are really out here.
Yeah, yeah. And it's interesting, too, because we have to differentiate to a great degree about cloud versus, say, hosted applications. So a lot of people have hosted applications, but in true essence, the number of cloud applications is still pretty limited. Yeah.
One thing that I did notice was that unlike the retail industry, which is very separate, it seems that more and more of the providers here are thinking both food service and hospitality. They're now thinking of hospitality as a total industry.
Yeah.
And whereas in the past, it seemed like travel, tourism, and hospitality were on one side, food service went under retail. Mm-hmm. And I've been talking to vendors here who are really showing technologies that I asked them, are you doing restaurants as well? Mm-hmm. And there's more that are doing restaurants, not necessarily retail, but there's certainly more that are doing those things as well.
Right. I wonder if some of that is just as a result of the fact that hotels have recognized that restaurants are a major revenue generator within their world. And also in many cases, some of the high-end hotels have now started to lease out their restaurant space. So you still have quite a bit of a crossover there. So they show up to shows like this and are equally looking for their technology to fit. So.
Now, what about digital displays, digital signage here?
Some good stuff there, actually. There's folks like Janison Interactive and Four Winds. It's come a long way, actually. Some of these, the displays, the price point of the hardware has come down quite a bit. Even some of these are much more commercial, or much more residential grade in terms of price-wise. So you see more and more people having options to go in these directions using flat panels or plasma or LCD
And these
displays.
are touchscreens, actually.
Yeah.
These are touchscreens, and they told me that they're doing, this is Four Winds Interactive, they told me that they're doing restaurants, they're doing hotels, they're doing stadiums, they're doing digital signage, digital menu boards, but they're not actually the content provider. They're going ahead and packaging up, but they're doing links to other types of content.
Well, the actual hardware itself has become very much of a commodity. It's more like a situation where it's content that's king. Let me turn that off, sorry. All right.
Hey, you know what? I heard about 3 times here about the Samsung videos.
Yes.
So let's take a walk over to Samsung. Let's see what they're doing, because I see they still have their monitors turned on.
Yeah.
Now, earlier this year, we covered the Consumer Electronics Show, and when we covered that, we were looking at digital displays, and of course, some of the new digital displays that are out, and it's very interesting to see some of the digital displays that are coming out now that they're showing for the guest room, taking some of the things that we saw at Consumer Electronics Show.
Right. Well, it's obviously now as the hotel market starts to step up, especially when you get into the 5-star and the 6-star markets, the expectations of a guest are a much more rich video experience in the hotel room, whether that be streaming video, whether that be almost any show anywhere in the world. I want to see a World Cup event that's taking place that may not be being televised in that country. So there's an expectation now that all of these things will be available, and there are organizations and companies that are starting to provide that type of content.
But also they're doing the smart TVs that are connecting through the internet to different applications as well. So what happens is it creates an environment where the digital providers can come in and do displays, whereas in the past you had very industry-specific providers. All of a sudden, companies like Samsung, LG over there, that they can come in, NEC, that they can come in and not worry so much about industry-specific content.
Exactly. Not only that, but you start to get into situations where you don't need set-top boxes. Your maintenance is much less. Literally, it's just an internet connection, and from a setup and maintenance standpoint, it's a whole lot easier for the hotelier.
So, as we start walking up, of course, you mentioned, the Parr Springer Miller, some of the new products that are here. From the PMS guys. So what you're saying is that the PMS guys are really offering newer products, and they seem to have come out this year. Is that because of the mobility and the tablet computing?
I think to some extent. I think some of these things are just long overdue. I think something like Atrio here has been on the books for a while, but these projects just take so much time.
And these are new terminals too.
That's
or
correct.
They're new terminals.
They're new terminals actually, and a lot of vendors here actually. The most notable, Micros, has a new terminal which has a removable head. It's an Android.
Oh wait, we'll go take a look at that. Okay. But if you take a look at some of the terminals that are being used in here, you'll see that some of the new all-in-ones and the touchscreen terminals are now becoming the base.
Right, exactly. And so the technology is really moving forward. It's become a commoditized technology, but more and more often they're becoming much more hospitality friendly. For a while, retail really drove the bus, and we kind of settled for something secondary.
Okay, so here's the downside. The downside is this, is that walking the floor when you have tablet technology here, that's the one thing that you're not going to leave up because it's going to disappear. there was a tablet here, and so Micros was showing their new tablets. They were showing, I believe, both the iPad, the Droid, and also the Micros case-hardened tablet here. So just imagine that. Right. And of course, we've shown that at NRA, so that's a good thing.
Now, the nice thing about this particular unit, I guess it's going to be commercially available in the U.S. in August. And obviously, you can remove the tablet to do line busting. You could take credit card purchases. You can use it for inventory, online ordering, things of that nature, and then put it back in to recharge. The other thing is that they're working with Apple on a unit that will allow you to literally bring in your own iPad and just plant that and recharge it.
You know what? Actually, I'm really glad that the tablet's not here. Let me, just talk about something that's sort of a trend. We've not seen new hardware technology in years in the point of sale side of things. So if you go take a look at this, what differentiates it, because you have so many vendors today that are talking about why can't they just use a tablet? Why don't they just use a tablet, $30 a month? Okay, so here's why. Because it's not as simple as just having a tablet that's sitting out. You actually need to have the connections, and there are things that you're going to want to connect, from scanners to scales to card readers. There's all kinds of things, and so really you're going to have the tablet, but you're going to have a base station. And I think this is actually great because this base station is here. Why don't we just walk on the other side of their booth real quick, because they have a couple of other ones that are sitting there.
Yeah, exactly.
So, again, they're just showing different kinds of docking stations that are here. But again, you can see this one's an adjustable one.
This is a prototype. This is a prototype of one that they're going to do for an Apple iPad. So you can see it's adjustable. And then you dock your iPad. And again, the whole idea is that this base station will be the basis for driving your cash drawer, KDSs. These will come with multiple USBs, probably 4 USBs. I believe, as I recall from that unit, it's 2 powered and 2 non-powered. So basically, you've got a unit that talks back and can be docked and recharged. And you could arguably put these all throughout your restaurant and have a handful of just pads that you give to your waiters.
So the interesting thing about it is, of course, Micros as a company has been known for hardware. There's other hardware companies that are out here. I don't think that they feel the threat of the tablet as much as you might think, of generic tablets, for 2 reasons. First of all, because of the case-hardened tablets, and again, we could be speaking about Micros, we can speak about PAR, or any of the major hardware manufacturers, but also they recognize that there are other things to be connected. I actually think that that's an underestimation by the companies that are just producing tablet-based point of sale with no back office, with no connectivity of printers, with nothing.
You still need all those other peripherals, definitely.
So there's a nice coffee machine over there. I don't know that that's really what we're looking at. You did mention Infor before, and I did a demo actually in this booth, and again, just my perspective of this was they were building a platform, which is what they're showing here on the thing. And so that platform was one that would have interconnectivity, including the social media sides, for not only their applications, but also other applications that the hotel wanted to use.
Right. Well, Infor has been very successful at kind of capturing the essence of where technology in general is going, with much more of a Facebook feel, of a Twitter feel, of a dashboard feel to their application. So where we traditionally looked at applications that were menu driven, you now look at a display when you're dealing with Infor applications that are much more real time based in terms of getting feedback, in terms of understanding what you can get into, more of a workflow type of approach, and built over the course of multiple applications that are all layered.
And Micros announced e-commerce here. They have that whole e-commerce company.
Exactly.
But actually, I know Saber's here somewhere. I mean, Saber has an e-commerce company.
Correct.
It just looks like all of the big players are really getting into the whole e-commerce collaborative computing and getting all the devices connected as well. And then there was a guy that we interviewed earlier today on social media that's connecting meeting room planning to social media.
Well, we're looking at such rich content integration these days, the ability to pass data amongst systems. And so many of these vendors are recognizing that the amount of work that's involved to do that is so intense that they just as soon do it internally and be able to create that rich integration rather than have to deal with multiple vendors and maintain that over time.
Right. Well, certainly, they're all actually, it's funny. So we walk from one booth to another booth with the same kind of chart showing the different people. And I would bet you that there's at least 5 or 6 vendors with a circular chart here that are showing those things. As we walk through, you can see we're passing the front row here. So a lot of the industry standards that are here, but we can actually take a look. That's a hell of a screen up there. So we take a look at the the LG screen, and also that booth. And you can see, by the way, between LG and Samsung, as far as the digital providers, I'll tell you, there must be a lot of money in that particular area because of the investment that they're making here at the show, I guess counting number of rooms and now lobbies and everything else. Yeah. And here's GiveX. GiveX all the way across the board. FS Tech exhibitor as well.
Yeah. Loyalty is obviously always a big thing. Loyalty, gift cards, knowing your guests, knowing their...
And then Agilysys, across the board. And they... We're showing a bunch of different new technologies as well. So I think what you see then is each of the major providers coming out with their new pieces here for hospitality. Now, Agilysys goes across the board in many industries as well, including club and in the non-commercial food service market, cruise ships. So.
But to stay with that theme, even right before the show, we know Agilysys acquiring TMX. It's part of the idea of trying to put together a suite of applications to cater to the hotelier in general.
Yeah, so TMX Time Management, which is on the labor. So what we do see is quite a few suppliers are now getting very much into workforce management. And that particular acquisition for Agilysys is one that really creates a well-rounded suite of products, but the labor management piece in particular has become really a forefront.
Well, we saw for years people push very hard on revenue management and revenue control and yield management, and now people are realizing that another opportunity is cost savings, and labor scheduling is a major one. Labor is a major cost component in a hotel, so what better way than to acquire a best-of-breed labor scheduler?
And the video over here is actually displaying the different products and showing the handheld piece, and there's your workforce management. I guess they've taken TMX and they're now WMX in there, and then they still have the Infogenesis point of sale side, the Insight, which is all your information analytics, Visual One, the PMS. So again, now what they've chosen to do is keep the individual brands, where some of the other vendors out there are not.
Are rebranding, putting it all under a single name. NCR, for instance, has rebranded MenuLink as NCR Back Office. So again, the idea is either whether you make it a suite approach or a best of breed approach, either way.
Now, I took a look and sat in on NEC earlier today, and we were taking a look at the different applications that NEC was showing. Now, the thing here is that NEC is split up into a number of different divisions, so you don't see any of the digital signage really that's here, but what you're seeing is their telecommunications that's here, and you're seeing the phone systems and the IP. And the messaging that I got out of it was the connectivity that NEC not only could go ahead and provide the connectivity across the board, but they actually could go ahead and do the integration services, and they are doing integration services.
Right. That makes perfect sense. I mean, it's part of the whole piece kind of coming together. And as an organization, you need that backbone, that infrastructure, that platform to be able to run all of your applications. So sometimes it gets lost or forgotten, but organizations like NEC are really some of the front runners in that space.
As I think about it, in the past when we've been here at the show, there were more integration companies. I don't think there were a lot of integration companies here, and NEC is one of the companies that's doing a lot of integration because of their size, and what they're looking at is connectivity and communications being the backbone, and then go ahead and they can do any other services that are there.
Well, it used to be that things like cell phones or even radios or things like that were somewhat of a luxury in a hotel, rather, and we wouldn't want to give a housekeeper one, or we wouldn't want to give the bellman. And now the connectivity aspect is just so important from a guest services standpoint that we need to build a backbone or an infrastructure throughout the hotel, and we don't want PBX on one channel, if you will, and security on another. If we can build an enterprise architecture from a communication standpoint, it's more cost effective, it's easier to support, it's easier to maintain, and overall it provides better service.
And by the way, the big carriers are here too. So you had Comcast Business, you had AT&T, I saw Cox that was here, so it's also a matter of providing that connectivity itself, and they are providing services on top of it as well, because none of those guys are strictly connectivity anymore. Their TV, their phone,
that's just it. Data is data, and we see it in our residential environment, right? We have a pipe into our home, and that pipe includes internet, it includes voice, it includes our video, and hotels are following that same suit.